She thought the master bedroom was empty, silent, and harmless, a place she would clean like any other room. But when Kesha noticed the tiny black dot carved into the decorative sculpture, she leaned closer and saw a faint red light blinking beneath the surface. Her pulse tightened as she realized it was a camera, hidden with expert precision and pointed directly at the bed. A wave of unease washed over her, yet she forced her breathing to remain steady. She understood that panic would only make the situation more dangerous. Kesha stepped back slowly, pretending to examine the dresser as if nothing unusual had happened. Years of hardship had taught her to control her reactions. She reached for her phone with calm hands and quietly captured a clear photograph of the device. As she moved through the room, she began noticing more. Behind the curtain rod, another camera sat angled perfectly toward her. A third camera was positioned inside a smoke detector, aimed at the doorway. Someone had carefully designed a system meant to watch every movement inside this house. The realization struck her with cold intensity. None of these cameras were aimed at valuables. They were aimed at people. Workers. Visitors. Cleaners like her. This was not security. This was surveillance designed for something far more unsettling. Kesha continued her work as if she were unaware. She dusted the shelves, smoothed the blankets, and adjusted the pillows. Every gesture was deliberate, every expression calm. She made mental notes of the camera angles and whispered descriptions into her phone's recorder. When she returned to the master bedroom later, she noticed the camera inside the curtain rod had shifted slightly. Only by a few degrees, but enough to confirm that someone was watching her in real time. Someone was observing her reactions with meticulous attention. Her chest tightened, but she kept her face composed. She moved gracefully around the room, forcing the watcher to follow her movements. She knew that the calmer she appeared, the more confident and careless the watcher would become. The mansion belonged to Alton Pierce, a wealthy investor known for privacy and secrecy. He never allowed workers near his personal spaces, yet he had specifically requested Kesha after reviewing her agency profile. Something about the situation had felt strange from the start. Kesha worked her way into the home office, where she noticed a bookshelf with faint scratch marks on the floor. She tested it gently and felt the shelf slide aside. Behind it was a hidden room filled with glowing monitors that displayed every camera feed in the house. Her stomach twisted at the sight of women unknowingly recorded while they cleaned, stretched, or simply stood in vulnerable positions. Some looked anxious, some confused, some completely unaware. Every second had been saved, labeled, and organized with disturbing precision. In the center of the room, a server rack hummed with steady power. It was connected to cloud storage, encrypted drives, and remote access systems. This was not a simple setup. It was a coordinated surveillance operation built on exploitation and secrecy. That night, Kesha waited until her children were asleep before calling her cousin Jennifer, a lawyer known for dismantling cases involving discrimination and illegal surveillance. Kesha described everything with measured clarity, every camera, every angle, and every disturbing detail she had discovered. Jennifer listened in silence, then spoke with a voice sharpened by outrage and purpose. She told Kesha that this was not only unethical but criminal on multiple levels. She needed evidence, patience, and absolute caution. Together, they planned the next steps with quiet determination. The following morning, Kesha returned to the mansion and worked exactly as before. She forced the watcher to track her movements, to react, to adjust the cameras again. Every shift in angle, every change in focus, added to the evidence Jennifer would need to destroy the operation. Kesha moved through the house with steady hands and a calm expression, but inside her mind every detail sharpened into focus. She knew Alton Pierce would grow suspicious if she behaved differently, so she acted with the same quiet precision he believed made her the perfect cleaner. Each room revealed signs of constant monitoring. The cameras followed her in subtle increments, proving that someone behind the screens was adjusting angles in response to her movements. She whispered timestamps into her phone, careful to keep her voice low enough not to trigger attention. As she entered the living room, she noticed a newer device positioned above the fireplace. Its lens was angled toward the floor, a spot where workers often bent down while cleaning. She understood that the recording was not for protection but for capturing vulnerability. The realization made her grip tighten on her cleaning cloth. Kesha completed her shift without hesitation. When she stepped outside, she felt fresh air hit her face, but the sense of being watched did not disappear. She walked to the bus stop, keeping her posture calm, even though her heart carried the weight of what she had uncovered. After returning home, she locked the door and sat down at her small kitchen table, reviewing every photo, note, and recording she had gathered. Her hands trembled slightly, not from fear, but from the magnitude of the truth she now possessed. She understood that once this began, there would be no turning back. Jennifer arrived that evening with a laptop and a file folder. She examined the footage with a cold, focused determination. With each new angle, her jaw tightened. She explained that the evidence showed multiple levels of violation, each one more severe than the last. They planned their next move with careful precision. Jennifer advised Kesha to continue working for a few more days to gather the final pieces they needed. It was dangerous, but essential for building an airtight case. Kesha agreed without hesitation, knowing that she was not doing this for herself alone. The next day, Kesha returned to the mansion. She cleaned the hallways slowly, forcing the cameras to track her movement. She intentionally shifted objects so she could see whether someone corrected them later, testing the watcher's patterns and reactions. Every subtle response strengthened the case. Without warning, Alden Pierce entered the house several hours earlier than usual. His footsteps echoed through the hallway as he approached her with a calm smile that carried more menace and warmth. Kesha straightened her posture and faced him with steady eyes. He asked if everything had been cleaned to his standards. His tone was polite, but his gaze flicked briefly toward the ceiling where a camera lens watched them. The air thickened with tension as he stepped closer, attempting to read her expression. Kesha answered respectfully, hiding the storm beneath her calm exterior. His smile faded slightly. He made a remark about workers who overstep boundaries, testing her reaction. She did not flinch, and that unsettled him more than any outburst could have. Before he could speak again, she looked him directly in the eye and told him that everything had been documented and secured. The shift in his expression was immediate. The confident mask fell away, replaced by a flicker of fear that he could not hide. His body stiffened, and his voice dropped to a harsh whisper as he demanded to know what she meant. She simply repeated that every device, recording, and hidden system had been photographed and locked by a lawyer. His face strained of color as reality closed in around him. Alden took a step back, struggling to regain control, but the calm certainty in her eyes told him that his power over her had vanished. He realized too late that the person he thought he could watch, judge, and exploit had become the person who held the truth that would destroy him. Kesha continued her work in silence, allowing Alden to retreat down the hallway in shaken disbelief. She understood that her calmness frightened him more than confrontation ever could. He had built his life on control, and in a single moment, he had lost it. She completed her remaining tasks without rushing. Every movement served a purpose. Before leaving the mansion, she glanced once more at the hidden cameras. Their small red lights blinked with the same cold rhythm as before, but now she knew they would not blink for much longer. When she stepped outside, she felt a quiet strength settle through her. The sky above the mansion appeared heavy, as if holding the weight of everything she had uncovered. Kesha walked away without looking back, fully aware that the next steps would change many lives, not only her own. That night, Jennifer arrived with additional equipment. She reviewed the new recordings, analyzing every reaction, adjustment, and moment of suspicion on Alden's part. The evidence was now complete, each piece forming an unbreakable chain of truth that no lawyer on his side could dismantle. Jennifer explained the legal process that would follow. There would be warrants, investigators, and a full-scale search of the mansion. Kesha listened with focused attention, preparing herself for the storm that would soon unfold. She understood that standing up against powerful people required more courage than anger. The next morning, she woke early. Her children were still asleep, unaware of the role their mother was about to play in exposing a massive crime. She prepared breakfast quietly, kissed each child gently, and walked out the door with a steady rhythm in her steps. Kesha did not return to the mansion that day. She had already done her part. Instead, she met Jennifer outside the courthouse, where a team of federal investigators waited with files, warrants, and a list of every room they would search. Kesha held her hands together tightly as they briefed her on what would happen. When the investigators arrived at the mansion, the gates opened under the force of official authority. They moved quickly, spreading through the house with focused determination. They discovered hidden servers, encrypted hard drives, and a network of cameras exactly as Kesha described. Nothing had been exaggerated. Nothing had been misunderstood. Alden Pierce was taken into custody that afternoon. His protests echoed through the marble hallways, but no amount of shouting could stop the authorities from revealing the truth he had spent years hiding. His empire unraveled in a matter of hours, built on secrets that could no longer protect him. As the investigators carried out evidence